Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. We're just starting a little bit later than usual. Just actually had to get my mother-in-law her shots today, her vaccine. So we just started a little bit later, but we're here to answer any questions. I hope you have been able to register to get your shot as well. So as soon as everyone does that in America, then hopefully we can be all open for business 100%. But we do have some news to share with you in the meantime. But once you join, let me see if I can get the link. You get the link here so that in case you want to questions, you're welcome. Let me pull up for y'all. Okay. Hey, Chef, what's going on? Okay, I meant to share the link to join the broadcast if y'all had any questions. Okay, so give you an idea, there's only the first full week after President Biden's inauguration. I know everyone's excited for the new possible immigration reform bill, the new law. It's not a law yet, it's only a proposal. Okay, we'll give you an idea. We are contacting our old old clients that have, messaged us or called us to say, if they're eligible for something, but sometimes we have to give the bad news, say, look, right now, you're not eligible, but stay tuned for future immigration reform. And we've been technically waiting for 34, 36 years. Yeah, 34 years since 1986 was the last time there was a last major immigration reform in the United States. Okay. Okay, I finally found it. Okay, so I'm going to add the link in the description in case you want to join the broadcast. Hey, Chef, can you hear me now? Let me check my audio. It looks like it's working. Oh, the weather today. Hey, you know what? It's actually it's not too gloomy. It is a little dark out here in Houston, Texas. Where are you living, Chef? Well, it says Tejas, but what city are you at? Okay, so I added the link in there if you want to join the broadcast. Okay, go ahead and ask some questions. We are available. Don't be shy. Okay, let's see what other news I can share with you. Okay, to give you an idea, as mentioned about the bill and the process, we're going to have a separate video about this. If not this week, then next week. But basically, the to give you an idea of what can happen, okay, about the bill. Right now, it says you can be eligible if you've been residing in the U.S. on January 1st, 2021. But if you want my personal opinion, if I think that's actually possible with still 50 Republican senators, I really do think they will push that date to show physical residence farther back. I think it will be I'm just giving you like an example. It could be probably 5 years back. So to really not incentivize people who just recently came in, but also to stop migrants from coming into the U.S. without documentation on a recent situation, recent entry date. They don't want to give any incentive. So I believe they're already going to push it back because DACA, it was announced in 2012, but it required people to be eligible for DACA for the work permit in 2007. They had to show they were here at least in 2007, all the way until the date of application. So of course, if you're applying for DACA now, you have to show from 2007 until 2021. That's 13, 14 years worth of evidence. So that's why in my previous video, by the way, you need to start gathering that documentation, okay, to show that you've been here for that amount of years. I just anticipate that. You wouldn't want to be in a situation that you're waiting. Everyone's waiting for the law to actually pass, and then everyone's flooding the gates trying to apply, right? So just have that ready, save you some time. Okay, Chef, you're living in India and your wife's in Ohio. Okay. Well, it sounds like by your name, it sounds like you want to live in Texas. Chef Tejas. Okay, guys, this is the way to schedule an appointment. There's a link down below. Okay, I am just reading something here. Okay, and I know you're probably, if you're watching about the news about U.S. politics, there's debate whether the Senate should proceed with if they should proceed with the impeachment trial of President Trump. I think you might know my opinion already, but I of course don't agree with practically everything that President Trump did, and of course how he did it. Right, he was very divisive, and he really did not focus on being a good leader for America. He focused on keeping people out, and we all know that from the proclamation from that was last April 2020 to stop people from coming, even though that has nothing to do about the coronavirus or the job market. But anyway, even though I don't want him to get any future benefits personally as a former president, it's not up to me. And I do believe that the Democrats should delay the trial if possible, because usually something of that magnitude, that significant, nothing else will get done. The entire Senate, Congress will focus on that. Whereas you and I know we prefer if the government focus on immigration bill. And honestly, I do believe we should just delay the impeachment trial so that we let Republicans deal with this mess of Trump. And I'm not trying to say in the future that, of course, immigrants should be one political party, but unfortunately, Trump did make it a lot different for the political landscape. Okay. By the way, if you do become a citizen in the future of America, please review the background of all politicians, Democrat or Republican. Okay. It's very, very important. Okay. We got a question here. Let's show it to everyone. Shanti. Are the people on asylum status, will they be eligible for the 8-year path that just Mr. Biden introduced? Now, I know we get a lot of inquiries about this. If someone who has applied for asylum application, 589 form, whether or not you just recently applied or it's been a couple of years, I know a lot of people have been waiting for several years. There's just a long backlog of cases. And but anyway, to answer your question, is that so far it does appear that people who apply for asylum can also be eligible for this, as long as you have been here in the U.S. January 1st, 2021. But again, that date, I anticipate that Republicans will push that back and maybe say like January 1st, 2018. You had to show that you were here in the U.S. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a better idea. So we will definitely update you as soon as Congress or anyone in the political leadership mentions something different or just maintain the same information. Hey, what's up, Fortnite? Good to see you again. Okay, so what they're trying to do, what Democrats are trying to do, or at least President Biden, he wants to try to get this done on a bipartisan path. You may have recently seen the news this past week that there is a bipartisan group of at least, I believe, 8 or 12 politicians, 6 on each side or 4 and 4. You're welcome, Shanti. And that they're trying to work a bipartisan group of senators working on the COVID-19. I think they call it like a 1.9 trillion package. So I know the recent one in December that was passed was less than 1 trillion. So it's very ambitious, right? But at least the first thing is President Biden wants to try to do this on a bipartisan path. It's a good start because if they're able to successfully do this with a lot of money at stake, which, by the way, Republicans tend to not want to agree to a very large dollar amount. I mean, they waited practically eight to 9 months to pass the second one. The first one, I think, was passed in March. So that kind of gives you an idea, just historically. But anyway, okay, so if let's say hypothetically they're able to get this passed bipartisan wise, for like most people on both aisles of the political spectrum, then the next thing they can work on is the immigration reform bill, right? Of course, they're working behind the scenes on this. Just because they're talking about coronavirus bill on the internet or in the news doesn't mean they're not working on immigration. So hopefully they'll do the right thing. Hey, we got a. Oh, appreciate it, Shanti. You're asking me to help you. Absolutely, we're here to help as many people as possible. But of course, to give everyone an idea, we're not the type of law firm that just accept any client, right? We want to make sure that you're eligible, number one, and we have a communication policy because we want to be able to allow you to have access to me to ask me any questions. Most law firms, I imagine this will continue for most law firms, that most of the time the client only talks to the like paralegal or the assistant. Okay, so of course, if you call in initially, you'll be talking to our assistants, but eventually you'll have access. I mean, there's a link down below right here, calendar. You can schedule an appointment with me directly. We allow that for current clients every week. I mean, no one wants to talk to me every week, but we have that available in case you have a question. We do that because, it takes longer if you just call in, and then unfortunately most lawyers forget to call you back because there's so many things going on. So that's why we set up this appointment website, so it's a lot easier, and we want to provide access to your attorney. Okay, and we're also, here's our other offer to give you an idea. If you're considering us as a law firm, is that we are very transparent. So I have many stories of this similar situation, but anytime we've been a second lawyer or a third lawyer trying to help problem solve an immigration situation, the first couple lawyers, they don't want to share the file, and I don't know why. For us, we're very transparent. We share a Dropbox link as soon as you hire us, okay? And so anything that we send out for you on behalf of you, let's say to the immigration court or USCIS, you have access to it. There's no reason to hide it because we want to make sure that you're comfortable. We also understand how anxious anyone could be. I would be anxious if I were in a situation trying to get legal status. And also the other benefit from us is that we provide you a timeline. It shows the different steps of how, what and when to expect certain things to happen. Okay, for example, like, right now we can't predict anymore when you'll get a receipt notice because USCIS is taking forever, usually at least 1 month now. But for example, when to get the biometrics notice for fingerprinting, check your criminal history, and also to also has steps about like when you could potentially get like the visa interview, marriage, green card interview, and then how long it could take to actually receive your decision in the mail. It usually varies at least up to 4 months after the interview. I mean, I've had cases where I thought could be a red flag, that maybe the government, USCIS could ask more questions, request for evidence again, but they approved it in the same week, and then there's some cases where I think is a very straightforward, and they take 1 month to approve the case. So we're here to ease any anxiety. We're here to make you comfortable and to let you know our case experience so that you are you can focus on your work, focus on your family. Okay, that's number one, is family. Especially, we all know that after 2020, that's for sure. Okay, so on this, enough talking about us, but back to Biden and his plan. He also wants to ask, I know some of y'all in the audience are here on maybe an employment visa or seeking an employment visa. President Biden is actually also talking to business groups. So I know most people think it's only based on a family base. Right now, in general, for this new bill, there has been no discussion about needing some kind of sponsor or like an anchor, a petitioner. There's no talk of that. But President Biden, if he wants to make a huge immigration reform, then it needs to include 21st century discussion provisions about employment-based work. Because let me see if I can share with you. Yeah, let me see if I can share with you. We got this data, this chart here. I got about 5 minutes here. But I want to share with you on how many people are waiting here based on employment based. All right, keep asking your questions if you're on. Let us know if you have any questions. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I will scroll to show you this. Okay, so I'll give you an idea for employment-based. People from China, India are the top two countries that people are waiting from for the green card. They're employment-based. So we got for Chinese natives 9,000 and 2,000 from India. That's just the employment-based number. The first one, EB1, and EB2, natives from the same country. The top one being India, and the second one being from China. And so these are the top two that people usually try to apply through. So yeah, from India is 18,563. So yeah, that's H1B, the basis for H1B. And then for EB3, skilled workers and professional workers, India and Philippines are top two. India being at 36,000 applicants, and Philippines 32,000 applicants. So it's a lot of people waiting. And most of these people are in the U.S. already waiting because they've been here on a work visa. So it's really ridiculous. People have families throughout this time, and they want anyone who needs to have some kind of stability in America. So that is one major reason President Biden is also talking to business groups. Okay, so that gives you a better idea. That's the data we have from the government. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share here. Okay, let's see what else I can share with you. Oh, public charge. People ask me about public charge. This is still up in the air. There's been a lot of lawsuits the past year, of course, against the Trump administration, and everyone's hope is that President Biden will just retract the rule, remove the rule, and tell his attorneys to not pursue any appeal if they lost any case, to not appeal the decision. Okay, because that will continue to prolong it. But it's not as easy as people think to just remove the law, because, for example, Trump tried to do that with DACA. Of course, he did it the wrong way because he did it haphazard. And I think, who knows, maybe the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security at the time, Christian Nielsen, did that on purpose, did it haphazard. But yeah, it has to. You have to show that basically that it doesn't affect anyone when removing the rule. That's not the legal definition, but essentially that's what it boils down to. So we got a couple more minutes, friends. If you have any questions, and by the way, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe below and share our video, share our information with your friends, because they may have a question. And I understand people don't have time to maybe have a full consultation for 30 minutes with an attorney. But I of course recommend that, because you may have very specific details that you might not want to ask on YouTube or Facebook. But I'm happy to ask or answer any procedural questions. People have also been asking us on the channel about how long it's taking USCIS to provide the receipt notice. Look, if it's been more than a month, or especially after 2 months, you should try to go to online, uscis.gov, and submit an inquiry. I know it will be difficult to do that, actually, because it always asks for a receipt notice or receipt number. But let me show you that real quick. We got a couple minutes. Let me show you that so you have an idea how to find it. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're here at the uscis.gov website. So scroll to tools on the top right. Okay, and then scroll to USCIS tools, where it's online tools. Okay. But to give you some tips, I think I did provide some tips in that other video a couple weeks ago. If you haven't sent your case yet, number one, send it by FedEx, and then or some kind or even USPS, but with some kind of tracking number. Okay, that's very important. And then also send, if you're doing this by yourself, you're not having a lawyer, send in the form G1145. You can add your email address and your phone number so they can text or email you the receipt number. It's just a bunch of gibberish, but it's basically one sentence. It's not really even a sentence, but basically you do get the case number by text or email. So that gives you some assurance. And real quick, if you're trying to make a payment, one way to do that is through the G1450, depending where you send it. If they accept that form, you can pay by credit card, but do not send a money order, because then you don't have a way to check if they cashed that money order, or even cashier's check. I don't think you can figure that out if they did. So if you have a personal check, you can do that as well. Okay, back to this e-request. Okay, number third row here, e-request. So remember, I'm trying to help you, give you some tips if you did not receive the notice. So this second one here, did not receive notice by mail. Click on that. Okay, ask for the form number. The thing is, it does ask for a receipt number, so it just doesn't make sense for them to ask you that if you haven't received the notice. So you might have some trouble there. Okay, but it's pretty straightforward form. It takes maybe just a couple minutes. The only reason it might take longer is sometimes it could just time you out if you get busy. You have to do something else. Okay, so we do have a couple questions. Mohammed, when will the law be submitted to Senate? Again, it's very early. They're focusing, at least public facing, they're focusing on the COVID-19 relief bill. Okay, but Mohammed, we will definitely let you know and let everyone else in the audience when it moves to the next step. Okay, we won't just update you when it's passed, because it won't happen that quickly. I think everyone thinks it will, but it will take some time. I think at the earliest 2 months, but that's really, let's all cross our fingers, do our prayers. Okay, whichever God you believe, please pray for a passage of this law. Everyone's been waiting. Like, for example, we're updating our old clients from 10, 15 years ago. Whoever we had to tell that they weren't eligible at the time. Okay, so we got, sorry if I mispronounced your name, Yahar. Your son is 22 and you have a sponsor, that you sponsored last year. Okay, well, and you have a green card. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that situation, assuming your son's abroad, you might know that you might be coming up on a Child Status Protection Act. So you can look that up. We'll talk about that in a different video, how to calculate that age. Just because your son is over 21 does not necessarily mean that the government will not allow them in. It depends on the dates on the receipt notice, approval notice on different applications. So let's chat more. Okay, you're welcome, Mohammed. Okay, let's see here. And your son's in the US and he has a student visa. Okay. Okay. So that situation, you might know, we rely on the visa bulletin. Yeah, you still might have an issue with the Child Status Protection Act, but you just have to rely on the visa bulletin. Is your son married? I'm just going to assume that he's not married, because that does change the category. So the category is F2B right now for him. Which country was he born from? Okay, so F2B, that's just in general, most of the countries right now, it shows that the priority date showing on a visa bulletin is July 15, 2015. Let me see if I can share my screen. I really like to share what we talk about so you can have a better idea. Yeah, so assuming it's not from China, India, Mexico, or Philippines, then F2B, they're working on cases from July 15. 2015. Okay, so that will give you an idea. Okay, we rely on this visa bulletin chart if you're not in the immediate relative category. So this is called the visa bulletin. Is basically a bunch of different preference categories. It depends on your work relationship or your work occupation, and in terms of family, your family relationship. Okay, so let me stop the screen here. I do have to get going, but I know there was probably one other question. Okay, chef, you can visit the US. That's good. That's good. Okay, friends. We'll please continue. Smash the like button for us. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. And please share a video. Okay. Please stay tuned and also join our mailing list. Okay. Click on the link below to find our mailing list, and we try to update everyone. We give more insider tips that we may not necessarily share on YouTube on our newsletter. So find our link in the description below and join that list. Okay, friends? Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye now. Stay safe.